Netflix finally released the series Monsters, the story of Lyle and Erik Menendez. However, the series took many creative liberties and even distorted real events from the case. This has led many experts on the story, and even the Menendez brothers themselves, to speak out against Netflix. That's why we're here. Today on Charlietales, I'll show you all the things Netflix changed from the real case and how this severely damages the true story of the Menendez brothers. Ready? Let's go! The first and perhaps most important difference is the truth behind the claims of childhood abuse. The Menendez brothers killed their parents in 1989, but they always claimed they did it because they had suffered years of sexual abuse at the hands of their father. During the trial, this was never fully proven. Most documentaries have presented this idea as a possibility, not as something confirmed. The Netflix series does the same. It presents the abuse as something that may or may not have happened. We do see the brothers talking about the abuse, but then the series portrays them as liars, and the abuse is largely dismissed. The problem with this is that today, in 2024, there is already irrefutable evidence that Jose Menéndez is guilty. Why can I say this with confidence? Because after the case, testimonies from victims of Jose Menéndez emerged. The most prominent victim is former member of the musical group Menudo, Roy Rosselló. In 2023, he revealed that Jose Menéndez assaulted him when he was part of the band. This happened when he was only 14 years old, and it took place in the Menéndez home in New Jersey. Additionally, Roy stated that there were more victims among his bandmates, but he can only speak for himself. The entire Menudo case is explained in a documentary called Menéndez plus Menudo, which is available exclusively on the Peacock platform. Rosselló's statements completely changed the perspective that many had about the case. Unfortunately, this only came to light recently. I'm confident that Rosselló's testimony would have significantly impacted the trial if it had been revealed at the time. Going back to the Netflix series, there is a clear disinterest in portraying the abuse as something real. The series director, Ryan Murphy, made the show after the new information was revealed. Therefore, the most logical thing would have been for the series to clearly present that the abuse did indeed happen. But instead, they chose to handle the subject with ambiguity, portraying the brothers as total liars. This is highly problematic. Sure, we have scenes of the brothers crying as they recount their trauma, but then the same series suggests they are acting. There's even a scene where Lyle shows his lawyer how he can fake tears. Lyle himself says that during the trial, he gave the best performance of his life. It's evident that the series is selling the idea that they are lying. This is crucial because at this point, those who truly know the case are already aware that the abuse did happen. Denying it now seems absurd, and Netflix's series was the perfect opportunity to clarify that. Another strange element of the series is the clear intention to portray the brothers in an incestuous relationship. In several scenes, we see the brothers being affectionate with each other, even to the point of kissing. This upset many followers of the case, myself included. Nowhere in the investigations or numerous documentaries has it ever been proven that they had any kind of incestuous relationship. But the series has no qualms about insinuating something like this. In fact, there's even a scene where a journalist directly suggests that the brothers committed the crime to hide the secret incestuous relationship they had. This is extremely problematic, my friends, because it completely changes the perspective we have of the brothers. By presenting this idea, anyone watching the Netflix series will immediately think they were in love or had some romantic relationship. Moving on to another point, the series makes a big effort to constantly show the brothers' bodies, almost as if trying to provide fan service. It's supposed to be a real and rather tragic story. This reminds us of the series Dahmer, which also had scenes with characters showing their bare torsos. But in that case, it was justified because Dahmer's attraction to men was relevant to the plot. The case of Lyle and Erik is not the same. These themes should be handled with more sensitivity, as we're talking about a case that affected children. I believe there needs to be more discretion when using fan service, considering the story and an understanding of when it shouldn't be shown. The Netflix series also takes certain moments to try to justify Jose Menendez's actions. In one episode, they tell us that Jose was abused by his mother when he was a child, implying that he was traumatized by it. This scene felt like an attempt to explain where the abuse of the brothers came from, as if suggesting a repeating cycle. The problem is that, as far as we know, there is no evidence or suggestion that Jose was abused as a child. I researched this extensively and couldn't find any evidence to support this. If this idea was invented by the series, it seems like an attempt to justify Jose's behavior. They're telling us that he was also a victim of abuse, so that's why he did what he did to his children. It's a subtle way of whitewashing his actions, which I find dangerous. Another important point is the self-defense theory. During the trial, the brothers based their defense on the idea that they killed their parents in self-defense. According to them, their parents were going to harm them, and that's why they felt forced to strike first. This theory was dismissed by the jury in real life, and in the Netflix series, they also portrayed this theory as a big lie. They even included comedic scenes to explain that the idea was absurd. However, new evidence has recently emerged that supports the self-defense theory. I want to talk about a letter that Erik Menendez sent to his cousin Andy Cano in December 1988, a year before the homicide. This letter was recently discovered, and in it, Erik clearly describes the fear he felt toward his father and how he even feared for his life. Let me read you a passage. "I've been trying to avoid Dad. It's still happening, Andy, but it's worse for me now. I never know when it's going to happen, and it's driving me crazy. Every night I lie awake thinking he might come in. I'm scared. You don't know him like I do. He's crazy. He's warned me hundreds of times not to tell anyone, especially Lyle." As you can see, this letter perfectly describes the constant terror the brothers were living in. It was written a year before the homicide, but unfortunately, it wasn't discovered during the trial. With it, the self-defense theory would have gained much more credibility. This evidence could have changed the course of the trial. In fact, there's already talk of possibly reopening the case because of this letter. But coming back to the Netflix series, director Ryan Murphy didn't consider this new evidence when shaping the perspective of the story. Granted, he couldn't show the letter in the series since it wasn't part of the original trial. But if, as a director, you know about this new evidence, the logical step would be to give more weight to the self-defense theory. However, that's not the case here. The series completely mocks this theory, parodying it and presenting it as if it were a crazy, absurd idea from the brothers. In this video, we've seen many ways in which director Ryan Murphy altered the original story. But it's not just those familiar with the case who are upset. Erik Menendez himself has spoken out. Directly from prison, Erik made a strong criticism of the series, which was shared by his wife, Tammy Menéndez, on her X account. I'm showing you the full letter on screen, but to summarize, he says that the series has been very dishonest with the truth and distorts the masculine trauma involved in sexual abuse. He even says that the series is based on horrible and blatant lies. Erik's words may seem harsh toward the series, but if we consider everything I've shown you in this video, I think we can agree with him to some extent. In conclusion, the Netflix series about the Lyle and Erik Menendez case is an entertaining product as a piece of audiovisual work. It keeps you engaged, and the actors are impressive. Everyone does an amazing job. However, the problem arises when we remember that this is a real story involving people who are still alive. Director Ryan Murphy changed too many details about the case and distorted the reality in a rather disrespectful way. But anyway, that's all for today. If you liked the video, you would help me a lot by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe because I'll be uploading more videos about your favorite movies. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.